What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're taking a look at Knives Out, a modern classic whodunit mystery with a cast list a mile and a half long. I've grown up with mysteries. I've loved them for years. I still have a high preference in the genre when I read books because that end denouement is always amazing, especially if the reader or the viewer is unable to figure it all out first. Any good mystery remains unpredictable, and the denouement in Knives Out was everything I could have ever hoped for and more. So let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, denouement, the final part of the play, movie, or narrative in which the strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved. Knives Out centers on a murder mystery that quickly transforms from simple and run-of-the-mill to something much more sinister and complex when a famous sleuth by the name of Benoit Blanc is hired to help in the case and unravel the deeply tangled web found at the heart of the Thromby family. Now, a lot of people had this movie higher up on their list of anticipated films of the year, and as much as I love a good murder mystery, I wasn't one of those head over heels about this film. I simply knew nothing about it. I'm actually guilty of preferring murder mysteries with known sleuths like Sherlock Holmes or Monk, you know, the classics, but I admit Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc really warmed up to me. After all, the classics had to start somewhere, right? And what makes any good detective stand out against others like them is sometimes the hardest thing to pull off. And do I think Benoit Blanc stands out as one of the greatest detectives of our time? You know, I'm not sure. How his character is written? Very smart. The way that he carries this role is really great, but I feel like it's more of a standout performance from Daniel Craig than it is particularly a detective that is distinctive in this craft. A random thought popped up in my head while watching. A few years ago, would it still have been Daniel Craig? Because with that southern drawl that Benoit Blanc has and the fact that his character is a brilliant man, made me think of roles Kevin Spacey would play, which made me 90% certain that a few years ago Spacey would have been cast in this same role. That's not to say that Daniel Craig wasn't a good or memorable choice, he was, but I never really felt like he was born to play it. The rest of the cast is very good as well. Other critics have pointed out that this film sometimes feels like a modern game of Clue because of the colorful characters, all of that look equally compelling as a murderer as the next, and I would certainly agree with that assessment, which is what you want. You want a murder mystery to have a lot of suspects who all have a motive to kill, and what better motive is there than money? What I especially enjoyed about this movie was how deep the rabbit hole goes. Within half an hour, you might feel like the movie goes a little bit in a dumb direction by telling you too much, but don't get discouraged and never assume that you understand the end game, because with Knives Out, you have a pretty unpredictable and deliciously complex narrative. To be honest, all of that's really just the tip of this iceberg. There's just so much in this movie to just enjoy. I mean, the look of the film is great. There are plenty of clues for the audience to pick up on that alludes to the fact that it takes place in current day, but it also feels really old-fashioned, like something that would appeal to Agatha Christie. I think it's just the age of the house and maybe the colorful characters found within the family that really helps it feel like that. Well, that and the fact that it's a murder mystery. There are plenty of delicately handled flashback sequences which goes into smart editing. The music feels as it should for a modern murder mystery. I don't know, the movie as a whole is relatively memorable. It has a unique charisma that really truly helps it set apart from others, which makes for an incredibly refreshing murder mystery. Truthfully, I sense nearly no faults in the film, just technical areas that could have technically been approached differently and potentially better, but literally nothing came off as bad, and that's the most important thing to understand. You ready for that final score? 94%, 94 out of 100 possible stars, granting Knives Out a letter grade of A, and obviously landing it within the top 10% of the year. Thinking back, it has been a pretty strong year for films. In April, I'll be holding the 7th Annual Demi Awards, which will be quite a few videos covering the best of, the worst of, and several different categories, as well as an overall thing. It'll be crazy, so make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when that happens. But fellas, let me know your thoughts about Knives Out. Were you in the same boat as everybody else and anticipating this thing, or were you like me, mostly blindsided with how decent of a film it was? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, peace out!